All right, Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. I am one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka AO Shifty, with the one and only Steven at Steven_Springs. And we're just back at it again with more college football, more NFL. Of course, we have the finance, the NFT stuff that we'll break down and talk about throughout this. But as always, Steven, what's up with the quick slants?
Yep. Big week for Penn State football. Traveling down to Auburn this weekend. 3:30 on CBS. Penn State is a 3.5 point favorite right now, which is pretty high for that type of environment, that type of game. But I think Penn State is the better team. I did record the quick slants yesterday. It's coming out tomorrow night, 8:30. I just had too much. There's too much going on within the program, like our quarterback situation, all of our young bucks, showing out. I don't know if you watched the game on Saturday, but there's a lot of discussion within the Penn State fan base about the quarterback situation. We got Sean Clifford, our 6th-year starting quarterback, but he hasn't looked great. And then our true freshman, 6'5", 242, Drew Aller comes in and looks like the next, second coming of Jesus Christ. So we have a big dilemma right there. It's not a controversy yet. It's a quarterback competition. Again, all that with the quick slants. So check that out tomorrow night, standard time, 8:30 Eastern. I'll put that out on Twitter and everything. Go follow the quick slants at the quick slants. Tell your friends about it. But yeah, big week for the boys. Big game. Last weekend was a big weekend for all of college football. A lot of shakeup. We'll talk about that for a little bit. But yeah, big week for the boys.
Yeah, if you have been listening to Steven's quick slants, you know that he talked about Auburn as one of those big teams that he was focused on when they play them. So a little special plug in there to make sure to go back and listen to the other episodes, because this year and before, Auburn has been one of the teams that Steven talks about a lot and highlights in the quick slant. And he explains why Auburn is a game that he's focused on more than if it's like Ohio State or a Michigan game or Michigan State game or any of those.
Here, shout out to you for listening.
I know.
Word for word, boy. Word for word.
I know. So I tried
my flow.
I know.
Word for word, bar for bar right there. Damn, bro, that's love.
So make sure to listen to that, tune in to that, and we'll dive into a lot of things college football, because that's something I want to end up bringing up as well. I told Steven that that's a big topic, that especially because certain things in Texas, you can end up seeing how that goes. But as for the spaces, we've concluded 26 episodes of that spaces. We're doing another one next week. It's going to be earlier at 4:30 because someone who we have on the show, I'll announce it later tonight, but Kiki Verse, he's not based in the US, so we're going to move it up earlier because it's going to be like 9-10 o'clock his time. If we always did it at my time, 7 o'clock, you can only imagine what time it would be for him. And then I also have to shout out anybody. So they just did a collaboration with Take Keith. If anyone knows who Take Keith is, he's a big producer, especially in America. And they just did a collaboration for NFTs with them. The collection went successfully, so I wanted to end up bringing Elian and them back on the show to talk to them again. So we'll have them on the spaces, and I'll lock that in, and we'll stay tuned for that. Other part, I want to give a big thank you to everybody out there that's been listening to the fantasy football one. I did our first episode of the fantasy football stuff last week, and I'll do it again this week. Of course, we'll talk about it here, but then I always like to end up going in more detail on that show, because I have more time to end up explaining every single team. If you listen to that, Steven will also know I talk about the rookies, and the rookie wide receivers is something I always harp on, and one of Steven's very own was big over the weekend. I'll go into detail with that today, but then also on the Friday episode, I'll go into detail with, do I think that's big, or like the importance of it, because you always have to look at targets. But I want to segue into finance and cryptos before we end up talking about sports. iPhone 14, as everyone knows, that's about to come out. It just feels like the other day, like the 13 came out, and before that, the 12 came out, and then they have the iOS 16. So for everyone out there that wants to end up getting that update, and these are all like big things for Apple. And then I bring this up because then it focuses on Apple's stock. So Apple stock has always done well, even during the down market that has happened. So that's something of importance. And I always end up talking about it. There's certain tech stocks that you always want to focus in on. Apple's one of them. Microsoft is another. You can always just get into the tech sector. I mean, the ETF that they have out there. You can get into any of the different ETFs that are out there, like the XLE, XLK, the consumer discretionary index. Any of those are fine. But just wanted to end up bringing that up. Another thing is the inflation number for August was 8.3%. They were predicting was going to be 8%. The importance of that is it's still higher than what they're expecting. And they kept telling people that it was about to be coming down and inflation isn't bad. Well, having this happen, it just shows you that inflation is still here. We still have issues. Although you're seeing the gas prices come down, other things are still high. You're still paying a lot when you go to the grocery store. You're still paying a lot when you end up purchasing different things. And the other importance to this is people need to start paying attention to the real estate market. We've started to see different charts and stuff that are showing that the 6-month and the yearly treasury bond is starting to come close to the cap rate of what the real estate market is. And they're going to start to see a sell-off within the real estate market. Of course, everyone's always going to say like, oh, buy houses. It's always great for the long term. But if you're looking at something like you want to buy today or tomorrow, it might not. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just me letting you guys know what I'm going
Christian
to do.
is not a licensed practicing financial advisor, nor should anything he says be taken seriously. We do not encourage the gambling, or any loss of money is not on Christian's fault.
Mm-hmm. Or Steven's fault when it comes to betting on sports.
Well,
but
your job is more, Yeah. Yes.
But in terms of this, I personally, people have asked me, am I buying a house this year? What should I do? And again, like Steven just said, I will tell you what I'm going to do. If you follow what I do, that's on you, but I'm not going to say, hey, you should buy that then. If you want some financial advisors numbers, I can be more than happy to give you a bunch of financial advisors numbers, but I am not one of them. The other part I want you guys to start focusing in on is the EV market. So the electric vehicle market is something that is becoming of more importance. California has created a bill that down the line, they will only have electric vehicles. So that's something that's important. Ford is putting a lot of resources and materials into electric vehicles. I have an Acura, and Acura starts to send me different emails of sorts.
This man.
I know. And
This
Acura has
man.
been sending different emails about their electric vehicle that they're working on. It's not going to be out next year. They were saying like 2024 or 2025. It looks really nice. And then Apple is another one that is coming out with their own electric vehicle. Remember, the Cybertruck for Tesla is also coming out soon. So with all these different vehicles, they're not preparing for today. They're preparing for like tomorrow and stuff. So just pay attention. People are giving you all the signs of what's going to happen. Same thing with like COVID. When COVID was here, they started to tell you like QR codes are going to be important. Virtual technology was going to be important. Zoom, all that was going to be important. But if you decide to listen or not, that's up to you. But the signs and the writing will be on the wall. So just as a heads up for everyone, the electric vehicle market is going to be something that everyone should look into. The final thing is Twilio. So Twilio is in the cloud communications market, and they have laid off 11% of their workers. I have always been a big proponent of, I hate when people do this. It sucks so much because that 11%, it's not 2 people they laid off. It's like hundreds of thousands of people that they laid off. And it's so bad for them because their families depended on that, thinking that they were going to have a job tomorrow. And then you just get laid off because they're doing what's better for their books, their balance sheets, and their cash flow. They weren't thinking necessarily about you. They might say, oh, I feel bad. But at the end of the day, when that CFO says, yo, you got to cut somebody, they're like, deal, that's what we're going to do. And when you're a public stock, you have so many people looking at you as to what are you going to do to get your shit together? So they laid off 11%. Of course, that affected their stock, doing something of that nature, because it also starts to put signs on the wall of, is this stock in danger? A lot of the bigger name stocks are not necessarily just out there laying off all their workers. In fact, Apple and Amazon are hiring more people. They're not laying people off. So those are the big things I just wanted to end up touching on for today with crypto. I don't like to make it stale or anything like that. As always, like Utes with D-Gods, they're still being silent. They're doing a lot of working and building. Pay attention to Blocksmith, because they will be coming out with their new art reveal. Vandals is another one I have inside sources. Just want to let you know that Vandals art reveal is going to be another thing that's big. So I do a lot of different fantasy football leagues, and I'm in some with D-Gods and then Vandals community members. So I get to talk to them, and I may or may not have some of the founders in some of these different leagues that I'm in, but just take that with a grain of salt and do with it as you wish. I want to segue into sports. And before I get into a lot of Steven's thoughts and stuff, I just want to say the Las Vegas Aces are up 2-0 in the WNBA finals. I'm just going to be real. One, also Steven said it. They put the finals on the same day as opening week. As you're not going to get the total amount of audience that you want if you're doing something like that. You almost need to put it on an off day. So that's one thing. And two, they don't promote it as much. And what makes me really mad, some of them, yes, they might want to go, but the other half probably don't. There are a shit ton of NBA players that are going to these games. And I personally feel it is part of like some of the agreement and partnership that they have. Like, hey, yo, it'd be good for you to, if you like pull up to the game. And like it'd be good for your look, or we can help you on the back end, or it's a little clause in your contract. Just come to the game.
Yeah.
So
they don't want to be there.
I don't think all of them are just wanting to be there.
I think the older players, they get it. You know, they get like the real nature of. I mean, like, I don't know how many times we've had this conversation about the WNBA and like how it's just like, I don't know how much more marketable they expect it to be, you know, because like I can't tell you the last time I watched a WNBA game. It's been a while, like a while. And like you're not going to get. There's no good time to do it.
No,
there's no good time to start and end your season, because if you start it in the spring, you're starting it during the NBA season, and like that's not going to work. And you start, you know, it's college basketball as well. Baseball starts up, and you go during the summertime, and like, you know, everyone's on vacation, not really focusing on that. Baseball is still going, and then you get closer to the fall. Obviously, football starts up again. Training camp and college football, and you get deeper in the fall, and like around this time of year, it's, you know, it's just like there's no good time to do it. And then if you want to start later in the fall, you got the NFL still going, the MLB playoffs are going, hockey starting, basketball starting. So like there's no good time to do this at all. And it's like it sucks for them, because it's just not like the product isn't like it's not as marketable as maybe they want to think. And it's just like, it sucks though, because I mean, they could use it. They could use all like the TV recognition and everything. And dude, I don't even know the games are on until I see someone tweet out the final score. Like, you know what I mean? I might see, granted, I don't watch that much TV anyways to begin with. And it's not like, I mean, if it's an NBA finals game, bro, you know, like weeks in advance that the NBA finals, when the schedule is, what days they are, and you know everything about who's calling the game, everything, times, everything. Like there's no tweets about it. Like there's nothing. Like the NBA doesn't retweet anything. I don't see any reporters tweeting it out about like the game is tonight or tomorrow or Saturday night, whatever. It's just like, just sucks, because like, yeah, like they could use all the help they can get to market that, but they don't get it. Yeah. So it's just like you fall flat. And I'd love to see what the ratings were over the weekend for them. I'm guessing they weren't great, because this was one of the better opening NFL weekends that we've had in a long time. So I doubt they were good, but just like not like, when is like a prime time to do the WNBA season? I don't think there is one.
I know. So that was the 2 cents that we just wanted to end up talking about with the
I think that's the most I've ever talked about the WNBA in decades.
Yeah. And
Shout
it'll
out.
be the most for this year. Shout out.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go into college football. That was one of the main topics. So before we end up diving into it, I'll just give you guys the top 5 of how that ended up going. So Bama did win to Texas. They are not no longer number 1 though. Georgia walloped Samford. Ohio State did the same thing to Arkansas State. Michigan destroyed Hawaii.
Poor Hawaii, dude. Poor Hawaii, man.
0-3. And Clemson beat Furman. So that's just the top 5. Of course, you can say shout out to Appalachian State for beating Texas A&M. They continue to do this year in and year out. But what are your thoughts and takeaways from the college football week that we just had?
Yeah. I think there was 7 top 25 teams that lost. You mentioned Texas A&M lost. Notre Dame lost at home to Marshall. I mean, Texas A&M lost at home to Marshall. I mean, to App State. I think I saw like a collective like over $6 million was paid to these top programs to let these schools come in and beat them. Notre Dame paid Marshall 1.25 mil. They got, I mean, they only lost by 5, but I mean, it wasn't even that close. BYU beat Baylor.
I saw that game.
Kentucky beat Florida. That wasn't an upset. Let's see. Pitt lost to Tennessee. Pitt sucks. Fuck them. Shout out to all the Pitt people out there, but not really. Yeah, there was Nebraska lost to Georgia Southern. Then Nebraska,
Scott Frost
gone, bro. He probably didn't even make it on the flight home.
No.
My man was gone. They didn't even wait. In his buyout clause, his buyout drops almost $10 million over like the next, I think, 3 weeks. If they would have waited 3 weeks to fire him, his buyout would have dropped almost $10 million. But they cared. They didn't care enough about their program, basically, to be like, you know what, maybe we'll save some money. We'll let him go a couple more weeks. They're like, get your ass out of here, bro. Pack your bags.
We're done.
Actually, don't even pack your bags. Just get back home. Get back to Lincoln, and he gone. And now, I'm blanking on the new interim head coaches. Mickey Joseph.
Yeah, I only know that because one of my friends, he coached him at Grambling State, so nice. I was able to talk about him to him.
Yeah, he's the first Black head coach.
Hell yeah!
And
the hell, what? Who's Nebraska? Hell yeah! He's gonna be the only.
I'm surprised they even have. I'm surprised they even have one on their roster. On their staff.
I know. I didn't know he was there.
But shout out to Mickey Joseph, man, for making history and becoming the first Black coach of any kind, head coach wise at Nebraska. So good for him. I mean, there's a laundry list of people. It's Nebraska. It's still a top tier like brand name. Maybe not on the field wise, but Nebraska Cornhuskers, Nebraska football. If you follow the history of college football, they are one of the blue bloods like college basketball has. They're one of the blue bloods in the history of college football. So yeah, it was a pretty dope weekend for college football. Week 2, there wasn't, I said last week in the Quick Science that there wasn't a lot of big games and there wasn't like marquee games, but it turned out to be some good games. Unfortunately for Nebraska, things don't get easier. They have Oklahoma coming to town this weekend. So I don't know what the spread is on that one, but I can't imagine that it's going to be good. I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be 20 plus. It's only 11, so maybe Mickey Joseph can get some things going, get some momentum going for the Cornhuskers. But yeah, another solid weekend of college football. Couple more weeks. I think we have one more weekend for most teams of non-conference games, and then once October hits, we start.
Say, all right, get that shit together.
Yeah, get Hawaii off the schedule. We're doing real shit.
I know.
And then that's when conference play starts. So, another weekend of college football coming up. Another good weekend. Like I said, big weekend for the boys down in Auburn. And then once October starts, the real season starts.
Yeah. So a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. The first one is Mickey Joseph. He was high school quarterback receivers coach, all different things for like the past 2 decades, almost 3 decades. And for him to get his first interim or head coaching job at Nebraska, if you told that to him growing up, he would not have believed it. I promise you. Why? Because half the community would not have believed it was going to be at Nebraska. Anywhere. He coached at so many HBCUs and they said, yep, Nebraska, we're just going to get rid of Scott Frost. That's how much they did not want Scott Frost there. They said, look, we are going to make history. Just get the hell out of there. But the other thing I wanted to bring up is Quinn Ewers. So just seeing him, he's one outside of his mullet. He legit has an arm.
He does.
Not for a while though, but he has an arm. So that was like one thing I saw. Just seeing like his play, then also Texas is getting it together. Not this year, of course, but like I can see next year or so, them making a run in the 25.
Fuck that. Texas lost and they jumped up into the top 25.
They did.
I don't know how that happens. I've never seen that happen before in my life. Normally when you lose, normally when you lose, you go backwards. But like I know they lost by 1. Bama kicked the field goal with like 20 seconds left. I know that.
That should not have happened though.
Bama should have lost. I think Texas should have been up like 6 or so with the missed field goals and bad calls and everything. And I mean, Bama had 15 penalties against them. They should have had 17 or 18, but nonetheless, I just don't get how you lose and then jump into the top 25. Like I've never seen it happen before. So, and they jumped ahead of Penn State, who, mollywopped Ohio by 36 points. So, whatever. It's Texas. I mean, how come?
So that was one thing. The other thing is, I don't know what I was doing, but I was probably at a bar or something, and I was watching BYU and Baylor, and RG3 says some of the most random things, because one of the big things that you do at BYU, they have like these glizzies or whatever they call them. So they were all like there's some, it's glizzy? Bread or some, they call it a glizzy. Okay. It's not really a glizzy.
Okay. Okay. Glizzy with the Z.
Glizzy.
Okay. Glizzy. Okay. No. Yeah, I know. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
All right. We're good.
And they were like passing it around. And I was like, there is no damn way. Like at BYU, so BYU has some interesting things they do. Of course, like the whole guy girl thing. But for you to just pass around a glizzy, and RG3 was like, look, I don't know, but I'm gonna just eat this glizzy. I was like, all right, you know what?
He says some sus things.
He really does. But so I have to congratulate him and then Pat McAfee, because the jobs that they got at ESPN, ESPN has rinsed their hands and like got rid of a good amount of people, but they did bring in 2 people that are good for the sport and good for the commentary. Of course, we saw what they did with Joe Buck and the crew there for ESPN. Monday night is a good thing. Peyton and Eli, of course, is a good thing. Then you have RG3, and then you have Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is probably one of the most random ass people you could put on the college football.
Yeah, he's also one of the most polarizing figures in the sports media right now.
He is,
for
and
a variety of reasons. So shout out to him, man. He's made a couple appearances on College Game Day, but it was just like random hits here and there. But I think he's a permanent fixture on the show now. So back to RG3 though. He says some. I mean, shout out to Geno Smith for doing some sus things at the end of that game as well. So if you didn't see that, go look up Geno Smith end of game situation. We'll call it. Last week, I think RG3. I don't know if he called it I forget what game he was calling week 1. But it was the Michigan game. I think I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But there was a touchdown, and I don't know what, I forget what the play was. I think it was a rushing score, like Michigan or whoever it was. We'll call it Michigan. They were on like the 2-yard line and they ran the ball in, and RG3 was saying something. And he's like, oh, look, it's an orgy in the end zone.
Yes.
I was like, bro,
running back.
Hang on. My man, bro, so out of pocket.
I know.
I don't know why you had to say that.
Yeah,
he said some sus things, but shout out to him and McAfee for getting those gigs, and he does a lot with on college football, obviously with RG3, but McAfee, I mean, he's making a name.
Bank, the sponsorships and everything. Someone else that's making bank but also losing bank, and I had to bring this up, is Brett Favre. So certain people. And for everyone out there that doesn't know, basically Brett Favre was working with the governor and then someone else in one of the poorest states in America. See, this is why Mississippi will never be able to get up there, because they always got to bring them down even more than they are. Deion Sanders is trying to do something good. Brett Favre's like, you know what? Let's build a good football stadium. A volleyball.
No, it was volleyball.
Volleyball.
Yeah. So
volleyball.
So I've this is one of those stories that I keep seeing it on every social media platform, but I haven't dove into it, mainly because I don't care enough to right now to spend the time to read it. What's it seems like he was trying to do a good thing. Am I right?
He was trying to get money, but he was using the welfare funds that the state gets, and he was using that money to end up paying for new arena. But what they were also doing, and they showed this in the text, that he was texting them saying, hey, you can pay me, and then I can end up paying for the arena.
So it doesn't seem like
so it doesn't seem like you use certain funds. So they end up like sending him the money. But on top of that, he got paid like $600,000, $500,000 or $600,000 for speaking engagements that he never showed up to. So now he had to end up paying that money back, but he didn't pay it fully back. And then what they were going to do with that is then tack on like interest and stuff, and then use that as money to pay for this like arena and stuff. So they were trying to like mess with a lot of different things. One of the main people in it, her last name is No. She's going to jail for like fraudulent activity and like racketeering and different things of that nature.
Bro, why get involved in this shit? Like you like, I mean, I'm sure
he did it because his daughter was a volleyball player.
Right. I'm sure there's hundreds of cases where people don't get caught doing all this stuff. But like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, it's like when NFL athletes get busted for something. I'm sure there's a lot of them that don't get busted.
Other people that can do this stuff.
You got other means like of being able to do this. I'm sure there's other foundations or whatever. I mean, Brett Favre's history isn't clean.
It's not that clean.
It looks like his history looks like the internet search on a middle school boy. Like, it's not good. Like, his history is not good. You can't clear that shit.
No.
So I mean, so it seems like he was trying to do a good thing on the surface, but once you start going below the surface and start peeling back the layers, it's not really a good thing.
No.
All right, never mind. I take back what I said.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to end up bringing up with that, and then talking about former players, I want to go into the current players, and we're going to dive into the game picks. But before you do that, I want to get your quick hits on your thoughts from the weekend that just passed.
Shout out to Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Shout out to the homie.
Yeah, 164.
Shout out to all the Penn State guys who had dope ass weekends. There's a lot of them.
Miles Sanders. Shout
out to him. Pat Fryermuth had a big weekend with the Steelers.
Yes.
Shout out to TJ Watt though for not being out for the season. That is monumental. I will say, I have a good story from the weekend though. I went to the Jets Ravens game up in New York with my brother-in-law BJ. His parents have season tickets, so it was me, him, his dad, and a buddy of his. And it rained. Like, it rained.
Oh, we saw.
Like, we left here 7:00 on Sunday morning, 7:45 ish. It was pouring when we left. Pouring. Got almost to Delaware. It stopped raining. It looked like it was clearing up. Well, the forecast said it was minimal showers around that area in the East Rutherford, New Jersey area where the stadium is. And we got there, no rain. Like, it started to drizzle a little bit. His dad brought a canopy, obviously, but forgot the tarp on the top. So that was a blunder. So shout out to BJ's dad for that one. And then we got into the game. Yeah, shout out to the Dolphins fans for blowing up cars. 6 cars, I think it was. Well, that's for a different day. So his dad had bought ponchos before and then brought 4 ponchos. So shout out to the poncho gang.
Yeah,
those things are clutch. Big. Those are clutch. But I had brought in a rain jacket, like a winter North Face waterproof jacket. So it was toasty. It wasn't like 75, but like I felt good in there. I felt warm. I felt dry. Biggest thing was my shoes though. I was like, all right, I got tennis shoes on. Them shits are gonna be dry as wet as fuck. Bro, it poured at halftime. Like, just like a shot just opened up. And me and BJ looked at each other like, all right, we're just gonna sit here and just take it. And we just sat there and sat there in the stands. I like covered up like this, like you do like when it's cold outside. Just put my like a turtle. Just got my jacket. Just like put the hood up. Just sat there and took it.
That's all you can do.
Took the rain. I'm like, all right, I'm not moving. And then this girl in front of us was texting like in the monsoon. I'm like, man, she gotta get the messages out. Like, I was like, that is dedication. I don't know how she could even see the screen. Phone was drenched in water, and she's just like texting. I'm like, you go, girl. You power through that text. You gotta send that text out. Either she's mad at somebody or something, but bro, it fucking poured. And shout out to Jets for not being that good. But yeah, that was my NFL story from the weekend. But yeah, I mean, it was the awesome games. Like the first half of the games were really good. Shout out to Justin Jefferson for lighting it up in the first half. Chiefs look amazing. Bears field is terrible, but they look solid on defense. Justin Fields needs some help, big time.
A lot of help.
We talked about the Bills last week. They look pretty solid. Steelers defense is amazing. The Bengals got some work to do protecting Joe Burrow because he's not going to last all season.
No.
What else? Cowboys suck, bro.
Another year.
I'm happy the way the Giants played because I want them to be good this year. Obviously, I think Penn State fans want them to be good, but they seem like they got some juice now.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. What are your thoughts? What do you got? Your Eagles snuck out a win?
I don't even care about them. You'll even notice when we talk about the schedule, I don't care about them because people think that the Eagles are going to be good. First off, you let the Lions put up 35 points.
Yeah.
30 plus points, the Lions.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Swift or Williams or St. Brown or Chark, but you guys are supposed to have this good defense and y'all let 35. That shit happen.
35 in the NFL, I feel like that's a lot.
That is a lot of points. The offense was good.
But then the Lions gave up 38.
They did give up 38. Yeah. My big takeaway is the top receivers are separating themselves. Like Adams, Hill did good. Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase,
Julio,
AJ Brown, Julio did show up. Yeah, so they all definitely showed up, and you could tell like there's levels and tiers. So ones I want to see are the tight ends. Currently, it's just Travis Kelce, then everybody else. That's really how it is. It doesn't matter.
Man. He's a man.
I really need to see what's going to happen with Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, and Darren Waller in that second tier. Also with the wide receivers, those rookie wide receivers, Drake London, Treylon Burks, Jahan Dotson, Chris Olave. Those are the ones you want to pay attention to see what they end up doing. Quarterbacks wise, there's nothing really to talk about there. Like you have your top ones, then you have your other ones. Pay attention to the running backs. Darrell Henderson is probably going to be the one that takes over that backfield, not Cam Akers. Cam Akers got some shit he needed to do. But I want to start going into some of the game picks for the weekend that the weekend that's coming up. Let me end up seeing. So the first one that we have.
We can do what we normally do. You just ask me and we pick them.
Yeah, so that's how we'll end up doing it. So the first one I have is the Chargers and the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Okay. I don't know what this is doing because I have the Chargers as always. I'll probably go with them a good amount of the time too.
This is it's on ESPN right now. It says Prime Video. Does that mean I can't watch it, or is it on iPhone Network?
More than likely, you'll probably be able to watch it. I know right now they're saying, "Oh, it's only going to be on Prime," but they would lose too much money if they only had it on one network. So I'm pretty sure they're going to end up putting it on another network too. We'll end up seeing, all right, cool, we're good. This thing was taking a long time to end up loading because I was going to type them in as we go. All right, the next one, Jets Browns.
Jets.
So I have the Browns. I only am saying that because they're just going to have to force feed Nick Chubb, and then they're going to have to force feed Kareem Hunt. They both look good last week, so I want to see what happens. Commanders and Lions.
Lions.
I have the Lions too.
They are favored for the first time in like 20-something games.
Last time. Hell yeah.
25 games, I think, yeah.
Bucks and Saints.
Bucks.
So I have the Bucks as well. Panthers and Giants.
Giants.
I have the Giants. The Panthers don't look that good, and Baker Mayfield needs to do something. And they're not giving it to Christian McCaffrey or DJ Moore as much as I thought. Pats and Steelers.
Steelers. It's at home.
So if you guys remember last year, Steven didn't really pick the Steelers all that often. Nope. But I'm picking the Steelers as well.
It's week one. It's early. It's week one. We'll see how it goes.
Mac Jones is also injured, but Colts, Jags.
Jags.
Okay. I have the Colts in that one. I only think because Michael Pittman. I want to see what ends up happening. Jonathan Taylor. Ravens, Dolphins.
Ravens.
I have the Ravens in that one. It might be a close one depending on what Tyreek Hill ends up doing. Falcons, Rams.
Rams.
I have the Rams. Yeah. They have back-to-back games at home. 49ers, Seahawks.
I'm doing Seahawks.
Wow.
So I don't know. Sneaky.
I have the 49ers. I only have that because as long as they got running backs and Deebo Samuel, I'll keep picking them. Bengals, Cowboys.
Bengals. Never picked the Cowboys again this season. Not once.
I'm not even saying my pick because everybody should know. It's not the Cowboys. Texans, Broncos.
Bronco Nation. Let's ride.
Yeah. I got the Broncos, Cardinals, and Raiders.
Cardinals don't look that good.
So crazy enough, I have the Cardinals in that one, but I'm only just having hope because Kyler Murray needs to live up to his contract and DeAndre Hopkins needs to come back. Too. Yeah, he does need to do that. Here's a good game. Bears Packers.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as we think.
No, that Lambeau doesn't become home field advantage until like November, December.
Cold ass months. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the Packers. They did not look good last weekend, but they still have Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Justin Fields does not have any help. And I think the more the season goes on, the more they're going to rely on him. I don't think that's going to go so well. I'm going with the Packers.
I have the Packers as well. Pay attention to Robert Tonyan. Titans, Bills, Monday night.
I'm going with the Bills and the league MVP this year and Josh Allen.
Well, that sounds amazing.
I might change that, though, once Saquon Barkley gets going.
He might do very well. Vikings, Eagles.
I'm guessing you have the Bills, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I'm going with the EAGLES Eagles.
Well, you know who I got because
Vikings.
They are about to get obliterated by Justin Jefferson. If he puts up over 150 yards, you heard it here first. But what you got?
I don't really know, dude. Not much. Kids are back at school. Everyone's back in a good routine now. My wife, actually, no, shout out to my wife. She went out and bought both kids Nerf guns, our first set of Nerf guns. And shout out to my wife also, because we made our a super adult purchase. So I got $200 gift card from work for Office Depot, and I could buy anything. Could buy shout out. Could buy a new chair, which I really need because my back hurts a lot. I could buy a lot of things for my office space here, which is what it was for me. But we went out and bought a printer.
That's good. That's
a big ass purchase, bro.
Yeah.
Because like you don't realize how much you need that. And with my wife being in the schools and doing what she does, she always needs to print stuff out. So print out pictures and all that kind of good stuff. So we got a nice HP printer. So shout out to us. What do you got?
Shout out. That's a big thing. Mine shout out to my editor that always ends up editing all the newsletters. I end up doing a looking through everything. And then the other thing is a big shout out to like everyone at work, because I'm starting to learn like all the different softwares and stuff, so I can integrate that into like either my business things or just learning different things about Excel, SQL, and stuff like that. But also shout out to everyone that actually listens to us week in and week out. Dude. So that's a big thing. Other than that, we'll catch y'all next week. We out.
Peace.